One of my favorite quotes is by Naomi Rachel Remen. She says, "The expectation that we can be immersed in suffering and loss daily and not be touched by it is as unrealistic as expecting to be able to walk through water without getting wet." Those who are in ministry are among the caregivers who are impacted by the stories of suffering that they see and hear on a daily basis. Supporting people through suffering has an impact on how we see the world around us and our well-being. There is a cost to caring, and those in ministry are not immune. In this video, I describe how compassion fatigue grows and how ministry leaders are also impacted. Hey there, my name is Laura, founder of Hope Made Strong, where we equip you and your ministry team to support and care for others in your community. I think we've all experienced the weight of hearing a tragic story, whether it's on the news or whether it was with someone we've been supporting, and it sticks with you for a few days. It doesn't matter if it's something that is shocking or just a part of your everyday work, there are still accumulative impacts of being surrounded by problems and suffering. The helping field has gradually begun to recognize that workers are profoundly affected by the work that they do. Whether you're a police officer, firefighter, or paramedic and have direct exposure to trauma, you see it with your own eyes, or if you're a counselor, pastor, healthcare professional, and you're indirectly or secondarily exposed to the trauma through hearing people's stories of suffering, abuses, and pain. These experiences of helping others have lasting impacts on us as supporters. When we empathize and care for others, we are giving of ourselves. In 2 Timothy 4:6, Paul describes ministry like being poured out as a drink offering. As we sit and hear of other people's struggles and trauma, it's in the air, and it clings to us regardless of how hard we try to avoid it. Trauma is sticky, whether it's our own or it's others. It sticks to us like smoke from a campfire. Now, compassion fatigue or caregiver fatigue refers to the profound emotional and physical exhaustion that caregivers can develop over the course of their career as helpers. It is a gradual erosion of all the things that keep us connected to others in our caregiving role. It's our empathy, our hope, and our compassion, not only for others, but also for ourselves. And as Christians, we are not immune to the impacts of compassion fatigue. When we're suffering from compassion fatigue, we start to see changes in our personal and professional lives. We become worn down or increasingly bitter or maybe even frustrated. How many can relate to this story? A person stops you after service and asks to meet with you. They're going through a difficult time with a relationship and they want to talk to you about it. Prior to meeting with that person, you spent some time in prayer asking God to lead you, give you wisdom, and ask the Holy Spirit for guidance. You spend an hour listening, empathizing, and encouraging them. You provide them with scriptures and offer them strategies for them to resolve their issues. They thank you and you part ways. A couple weeks later, they return. The process happens again and you support, guide, and advise. Then another month and it repeats itself, but you notice that they never implement the counsel that you're giving them. You hear that, yeah, but, and they seem to continue this cycle over and over again. Do you notice how your response changes to them? Compassion fatigue has been described as the cost of caring for others who are in emotional pain. It's not a result of weakness, sin, or failure. You're not a bad person for getting worn out, but it is an occupational hazard or a known risk of providing empathy to others. Only those who care can be fatigued. And just like our work changes day to day, levels of fatigue ebb and flow from one day to the next, and so can your feelings of compassion fatigue. In ministry, people often look to you to support them through challenges. You're witness to many people's darkest seasons of their life, yet there is very little training on how to process or deal with the weight of all the tragedy that you hear and see. The weight of people's suffering grows, and you can find yourself becoming numb, cynical, emotionally and physically exhausted. As a human, you try to reason and discover the cause, and naturally you tend to look inward. You feel blame, shame, guilt, and eventually you find yourself questioning your calling. If this ministry is worth the cost as you look around at your broken relationships and your compromised health. Compassion fatigue can impact every area of your life. It is an erosion of hope, empathy, and compassion. both for yourself. You can see that by putting your own needs last, and for others by feeling numb and resentful. But compassion fatigue isn't a fault of the caregiver, but an occupational hazard of the job. So many Christian leaders need to learn the tools, strategies, and resources that help to overcome and prevent compassion fatigue. You don't have to retire or walk away from ministry to find freedom. There are strategies that you can do to help protect you from compassion fatigue. Just like people who work on a construction site, they wear a helmet to protect them from known work hazards. Those in support roles in ministry can protect themselves from the impacts of compassion fatigue. And I know this because I've experienced compassion fatigue myself. After 10 years of working in a mental health social worker role, I found myself experiencing high levels of compassion fatigue. I sought out supports and worked through a process to find freedom. In my course, Finding Hope in Helping, I combine my clinical mental health training, lived experience, and compassion fatigue educator training and walk you through a step-by-step process to revive your life and renew your passion. Some of the strategies within the course are given in my weekly videos, but in the course, I go through them on a deeper level and I walk you through each step in detail with many more resources in the workbook. The course is designed specifically with the busy ministry leader in mind, so it's not to overwhelm or add to your stress or be a burden. If you're interested in learning more about the course, you can go to findinghopeinhelping.org, or you can even email me. But I realize not everyone is ready to dive into a course, and so I will continue to offer weekly video content that will equip you to serve your community without wearing yourself out. So if you'd like to be notified of when a new video is posted, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for connecting. Take care.